forth and a lot of side branches. I really do not know what to do with this tree. Hi, I'm miltonchang of Bonsaiheirloom. So today I'll go over several photos that people sent in. I picked out 4 this week. Seems like people enjoy seeing other people's trees and brainstorm about how we should go about modifying it. So please send me more so that we have more to discuss. And ideally, it's not send me little sticks because that's pretty obvious now how to do that. But send me something that's overgrown and have a lot of design options that give us opportunity to discuss our possibilities. So the first one is acer palmatum from Ben. It's really amazing how big the trunk is, and it's really stout base. So that's a wonderful tree to start with. And I can see Ben had a good idea wanting to kind of like a top hat kind of a design, and maybe with a little bit of asymmetry introduced it. My problem is that how do you make that lump go away to look natural? And so what I would suggest is actually cut that off altogether. So you have a nice base with a disc trunk. It's a little bit overemphasizing the taper in a sense. This is very thick and this is not as thick. You can see Ben has tried to make this more of a hat style, which is very typical, and maybe introducing some asymmetry. And that's a good one, but my problem is that how are you going to get rid of this lump? It's going to have a big lump with a lot of branches coming out. I suppose when the leaves come out all filled up, that would not make that so obvious. So at a distance, it would look like an okay tree, more like a natural tree. But what I would do is that I like the informal upright, in a sense, of more turning. So I would actually cut off this part. Now you have a big base, and then the tree coming up like that, and you can make that into the side and then side branches. And this trunk is much more skinnier than the base, but over time it will thicken a little bit. And then also the leaves coming out, the branches coming out would disguise a little bit of the differences. One other thing I would like you to do is that the roots looks very good, but you know, try to pull it up and making sure the roots are kind of spreading, like grasping the earth. You can have some very nice tapering coming up and then the big turn, and then you design the tree. So the way I see it is that you're going to have a big base and you're going to have a trunk coming up like that, and then you can then create the triangle right there using the branches that's going to come out. Acer palmatum, it will shoot out side branches very quickly, and I would say given the thick trunk, it may take 5 years for your trees to look good. But put it in I wouldn't put it in this tub, maybe even a little bigger oversized tub so it grows a little bit faster. Or even put it in the ground. I think you will have a very, very nice specimen bonsai. The next one are 2 trees from Christian, and one is elm. You don't want to go all the way up. First of all, you want to save the top branch, make it a chin. And then this can be, the top branch, you can let it go maybe halfway and then let it grow out again. So then you have a tree with a chin on top, like a tree hit by the lightning, and a side branch coming out trying to become the top, and then it's starting to grow this way and form the hat. And then the side branches will thicken to complement that. So that would be a very nice bonsai, but I wouldn't, you know, there's a tendency not to wanting to cut off the top, and you want up making the top nice, and then making the top nice, making the top nice, and pretty soon you have a very tall tree. That's kind of out of scale. So I will cut some of decide on cutting the top probably just a little bit below the apex of the that trunk or the gin. The same comment applied for the next one. I'm not sure where you cut off the 2 branches, but again, you now have a tree coming up, turn, and then you have a very tall tree. Again, I would probably cut it off here and then trim these to make it shorter. And making sure the roots are spread out again, given that it's growing in a nursery can. The next one is called Eastern Red Cedar. To me, it's actually look like a juniper, but that's okay. So I can see this tree comes up, and this could be a side branch, gets stick going to the right. Below it looks like a chin, and then the right, it's a very skinny branch, but maybe you let it grow long to thicken it, and then the top will be right here someplace, so that you have a tree that's coming up like that. That branch here, the chin, and then one branch coming out. You let it grow side branches, and then this one, I don't think the thin one is going to get thick very quickly. So maybe cut it short to have a short, not so thick branch, and then the next one going out the other way, you let it branching out to thicken and make that maybe an apex right there. So the tree can come up like this, side branch, going side a little bit and then go up. And then you have an apex and then make it all the way down. So it's an apex and triangle coming down and then coming down. It will look nice, but it would take, I would say, 5 years to make it into a thick trunk. You know, everybody likes a thick trunk, and I do too. And the age of the trunk, you can't speed up too much. It would just, the coloration of the bark and all that would increase with time. But you can increase the girth, the trunk size, by feeding a lot and water a lot. I think over-fertilize, I think you can probably, for trees growing in the nursery pot, you can over-fertilize it, at least go up to the recommended dosage. Whereas in a bonsai pot, you want to go maybe half the dosage. So the next one, it's an easy one in a way, because there's not much I can do. In fact, thank you very much, Scott. You offered to send me some air layering. I really appreciate it. So basically what we have on hand, you can see, it's probably I don't know the scale exactly, but probably a wisteria about this high, and trunk coming up, long branch coming up, and so forth, and a lot of side branches. I really do not know what to do with this tree, because if you don't cut drastically, I know I've been accused of cutting drastically, then what you have is basically a very nice base, and then a long trunk coming up, and then you cut off the rest of it or air layer on top of it. Then it will grow. It will take maybe 3 to 4 years to grow to have some decent sized branches. And then you have a very nice big bonsai about this tall with a big trunk coming up, and then side growth, and then cascade down. It will be a spectacular tree. I would say a bonsai pot about this size, a trunk about this size, and tapering, it would be a spectacular tree. But it'll be 5 to 10 years before you really get all the side branches to rhyme with the main design. And so my last email to you is to suggest is to air layer pieces. So you can have the trunk this big and this trunk coming up this way. You air layer down here, so you have a tree of decent size of this tall, big trunk, and then you can let it grow out to become the cascade that you wanted. In the meantime, you can turn this into a bonsai about this tall, big trunk, and then a lot of branches coming out with a cascade. That would be spectacular. And so the way basically is that you have like the top one with a straight branch. What you can do is you can air layer right here. So what you got is a long branch, straight. But if you plant it on the side, when it grows up, it would have branches coming out every other way for you to pick the next apex, with a turn, and then cascade down. You will have a very nice tree. So in your case, if you are patient, I would say 5 years, you will have 10 good-looking bonsai with a trunk from the bottom one this big, the next one this big, the next one this big, the one next big. Each one will be a valuable bonsai, beautiful bonsai. So I think oak trees are incredibly valuable. Now, for me, I can't do that much anymore unless I can get it done in 5 to 10 years. Because, I do have an age consideration. But if you're not too old, go for the old trees. In a few years, you'll have very nice trees. So that's all the critique, or not the suggestions, or the brainstorming on this week's photo. Let me go over the 3 Q&A quickly. You see the question from Cecilia, cutting off so much root, is that a problem would that kill the tree? First of all, this time of the year, you can do no wrong. Just imagine you go and buy a bare root tree, a standard fruit trees or whatever. There's hardly much roots. So this time of the year, you can cut back the roots quite severely. But for bonsai, after you dig it up from a nursery pot or from the ground, there are a lot of roots, a very big root ball, and yet you're trying to eventually fit it into a short bonsai pot. So what I do is I actually cut a little bit lower maybe. I will use a chainsaw, a reciprocal saw, to cut off the bottom. That's one way. The other one is that you have a lot of big roots coming out. You cut the big roots, let the fibrous roots stay, so you can put it in a growing pot, let the fibrous roots grow out to put into a bonsai pot. So yeah, you should, cutting back the roots is the thing to do. Don't worry about it, especially this time of the year. But always remember, even though now it's winter time, cut back the branches on the top to compensate for the root loss, because it's the rate of sucking up water to the rate of evaporation, the balance that provide to keep the tree alive. But if you have a tall tree, very little bit of roots, that's not going to work. But if you cut the top so that somewhat less branch remaining, balanced with the roots, you should be fine. So the next question, how do I keep the insects out of my orchid in my kitchen? Well, you really don't want to spray insecticide inside your kitchen or inside the home. So I would recommend you get a little squirt bottle, remaining from your hairspray or whatever. Put some alcohol in it, and you spray it. I would say frequently, because you don't catch all of them all at once, and then the eggs would come out and then create more problems. So either spray them fairly quickly. The other approach is to really take it outside and use malathion. Malathion is actually not terribly toxic. In fact, you can eat vegetable spray with it after a very few days. So I don't think it's a good thing to use insecticide, but on the other hand, it's a better of the two evils. So that's what I would do. And I tried years using the alcohol spray and all the nice sprays on my mealybugs. It never went away, but one big spray of malathion got rid of it. So that works. The next one is that, can I shape the pine seedling in the ground? So the question is that if I plant a seedling in the ground of any tree, I mentioned that it grows, fatten the trunk much faster. So the simple answer to you, yes. If you plant a tree in the ground, the way it does is it grows up like this and branches coming out. You say, well, I really like the bottom to come up and start to take this branch to go this direction, so I cut off the rest of it. So now you have a turn, and then you cut off here again, you have a turn. So pretty soon you have nice turns. The problem with in the ground is that you can't turn it, but you turn your head. So you have to look at it this way and that way until you kind of see the design. Whereas in the pot, what I do actually is I take it out of the pot, I turn the tree and cut it and plant it back. And next year I turn it again, I took it out of the pot, take it out of the pot, cut off, turn it, steady it. This way I get nice turns and nice taper, because each time you cut it, it's the branch that comes out, total branch coming out much closer to the bottom branch trunk. So it's a nice taper as the turn happens, and that's what makes a great bonsai. Please click like if you like my video, and tell a friend to expand our bonsai community. Send us your mailing address so we can notify you of product availability. Thank you very much. I'll see you next week.